Farewell, My Concubine. This is a Chinese film that came out about 30 years ago, and it's a very underappreciated and underrated film. Many people don't like to watch, long films, films with subtitles. I think that could be too much for people, and especially if it's a long film. But I think this film is just really underappreciated. It has so many rich cultural themes in there. And on top of that, it's just one of those stories that can incorporate so many different themes and even stories into one large story, into one large movie, and make it seem so seamless and just make it seem like it's the most natural thing. And essentially, it's a film that references an old Chinese epic called The Hegemon King. And so the film starts off with this young boy whose name is Cheng Die, and he is a very very young boy who is sold into an opera by his mother, who is a prostitute, and because he's feminine, or because he has these feminine features, he's thought of, at least by his mother, and then later on by the opera, as being perfect for these feminine roles in these operas. And so while he's in opera, he befriends this other boy called Duan Xiaolong. And this is the other important character of the film, because both of these characters eventually form a bond and they form a kind of friendship together that becomes this triangle of affection between them and the next person that we will be talking about. But before we talk about that, that upcoming character, many years pass and they become these famous opera stars. Despite the fact that the operas are so brutal and the people that train them are so brutal with the young kids, even to the point where there's even a scene of suicide by these by this young kid. And so despite all of that, they make this craft their own because they have this talent of being on stage, of acting, of really putting on a performance of this old Chinese epic called The Hegemon King. And so many years pass, they become basically famous opera stars. And so Chang Die, who is the feminine boy who eventually grows up, he becomes very affectionate for Duan Xiaolong. And they basically play the characters from the Hegemon King. So the feminine character, Chang Die, plays the concubine Yuji, and Duan Xiaolong plays the Hegemon King, whose name is Xiang Yu. And these are characters that actually appear in the epic. And so as these characters go on and do their acts, they form lives that are kind of separate from one another. So you have the feminine character who really takes this role very seriously, and he basically makes it his life. Whereas Duan Xiaolong, who is supposed to be the masculine, the hegemon king, he basically becomes affectionate for this woman called Zhu Xian. And Zhu Xian is supposed to be a prostitute. I mean, she works at a brothel, so she is uh, sort of, I guess you could say, she is a sort of concubine, referencing the film, referencing the old play. And so while this is all happening, you have the Japanese invasion of China, and you have the Chinese Civil War, in which first the Chinese defeat the Japanese and kick them off the mainland. Then you have the Chinese Civil War, and you also have the Cultural Revolution. And so it incorporates that component of history into this movie. And all of these things that you think are either side stories or have nothing to do with the actual movie, they basically it plays an important part in that film. And so the Cultural Revolution and all of the things that follow the afterwards from the conflict basically play an important part in the lives of these characters. And so you have the Cultural Revolution, which is supposed to purge a lot of traditional Chinese customs, and a lot of that perhaps includes opera, some components of opera as well. And they become basically questioned for not appreciating the new government of China. And so you have these very heartbreaking scenes, and you have this again this triangle of affection between these characters, and so what you have is this story that incorporates history, it incorporates love, it incorporates betrayal, it incorporates just lots of really rich, historical, cultural themes. And I think that that's what really makes a film, I think, very, very special. And I think that's a film that those are the kinds of films that I like. And those are the films that I think really do have an impact on a lot of people, because the directors who can seamlessly put all these things into a film, they can put the historical aspects, they can make a story about love, and they can and while all that is happening, they can reference it to a an old Chinese epic. And so I would encourage people to watch the film. I don't want to say what happens at the end, but I would basically give it a 4 out of 4 for someone who really appreciates history, who loves history, and then on top of that, can appreciate a good story that sort of incorporates, all the different aspects of you know love and betrayal. And I think that is what makes a very good film. Films that seamlessly put all these different elements into just one story. So definitely, I would encourage people to watch this film. It is a little bit difficult to find. I think you could find it on YouTube, and it has subtitles. It's not going to be the clearest image, but I would encourage people who really do appreciate foreign films and can appreciate culture, and these, rich details of like culture and history, and and also just in general drama, if you will. I would encourage people to watch to watch the film. And so if if you uh, would like people to know about it, I would say, you know tell them to watch the film, tell them to watch Farewell, My Concubine. And I would give it a 4 out of 4. I enjoyed it. I think it was very engaging. Again, if you can read the subtitles. And so, you know, and that's what I would basically say about that. But nonetheless, if you've watched it and you think it's a wonderful film, then let me know what you think about it, and leave a comment below, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.